Now, y'all know I love a good spin a block moment. And I know some of y'all said I'm spinning a block so much I'm making your head hurt, but just hang on to your horses real quick. Remember, in Gypsy Rose's book yesterday, I showed a screenshot or a couple of screenshots about her villainizing Nick. Well, initially, Nick thought he was saving her, but he also thought she was pregnant, allegedly. Now, let's spin a block on that real quick. Now, this is where the Gypsy Rose story gets insane. Allegedly, Gypsy Rose had been telling Nick GODEJOHN that she was pregnant. She claimed she had a miscarriage because of the feeding tube that she was on, which might be the reason she was able to talk him into unaliving her mother. Now, allegedly, Gypsy Rose was handicapped, correct? Then how was her house able to be this cluttered with a wheelchair? Allegedly, Gypsy Rose's mom had gout, she was diabetic, and she had pretty major health concerns, and she was not able to walk that well. And from a source that I'm not willing to disclose, she supposedly was taking care of her mother, which would kind of make sense because she had a phone, she had her laptop, she had been dating guys off of Facebook, she was on dating sites, and for some reason, she allegedly said that she was being held hostage. And if Gypsy Rose was handicapped this entire time, how come she never had any home health care, nor a nurse that would visit her frequently? Allegedly, Gypsy Rose's porch that she claimed she was chained on faced the street. So why wouldn't her neighbors see that she was chained? Allegedly, Gypsy Rose's mother was never writing prescriptions. That was allegedly a lie told by Kirsty Blanchard. In Gypsy's medical records, it does show a reduction of her salivary glands, but not a complete removal, like she said. But of course, this is alleged, which kind of makes sense because she does clear her throat very well in her last TikTok video she posted yesterday. Allegedly, all the muscle reflex testing that she took always came back she had great reflexes. Now, Gypsy Rose said she ran away, but her mom found her and brought her back home and chained her up for 2 weeks. But in the docuseries, when they stated this, there was absolutely no proof of her actually running away. This is Gypsy's word. Now, with all this information we have, and if Gypsy Rose could prove that she was really abused and really harmed, don't you think she would have taken this to trial? Allegedly, Gypsy Rose took the plea deal so that none of her medical records and lies were exposed, because the entire time Gypsy was in on this entire scandal. The Make-A-Wish Foundation that gave her home, she knew she had to play the part. And the reason her and Dee left Louisiana, because they knew they started to discover them. And allegedly, when they moved, it was a new start. She was able to go to new doctors, and her and Gypsy could run their game again. But at this point, Gypsy was in love with Nick GODEJOHN, and she wanted to be with him, and Dee was getting in the way. Also, allegedly, Dee told her that if they don't figure something out, they both could go to prison for fraud. Now, one thing I do want to clarify for sure is that we know that Gypsy wasn't trying to run away to be with Nicholas GODEJOHN. We know for a fact that she was trying to run away to be with Dan. And Dan dropped the ball on her. And I know this because later, after this post, maybe a couple of weeks later, Rachel Garlic messaged me explaining to me that Gypsy had been trying to reach Dan for a long time. And she was trying to reach her through Rachel Garlic, and he would never answer the phone. And she said that Gypsy said, he told me he'd always be there for me, but he's not. Now, the question that I have is, why would he say, I would always be there for you? I actually think Dan has a whole lot more to do with the situation than people think. I'm not sure if he has anything to do with the actual unaliving, but I think he knows more. There's things that we're not privy to that I think that he is privy to. Now, the really crazy thing about this situation is the fact that now Gypsy is trying to rewrite her entire story in this book. Why? Why now? We also do know she has villainized her mom to an extent that I am just really happy that there's a protest today for her mother, and it's peaceful, and we just want to see her get justice. Because this book, to me, if I was anyone in the family, this would put the nail in the coffin for me. I've always known that Gypsy is not a good person. She is awful. She's all these things. But I think this really took the cake for me. And I'm not really sure how you all feel, but I really honestly don't think that she could have done anything any worse. Do you all think that she will be exposed?